Hi folks, right, I'm doing a video here on how to do the slip stitches up the side of part 4, the block that we did that had the Catherine sort of wheels in it. Because my general rule of thumb that worked in part 1 doesn't necessarily work out so easily with this one, so I have done this side here and we have 29 nice slip stitches ready to work into. So I'm going to do the same on the other side and show you how I worked it out, so it's fairly even, and then I will be doing a video on joining pieces together and showing the method that is suggested by Jane, who's the designer, and possibly some other ways of putting your pieces together too. So what I did anyway for this particular piece was I put one slip stitch in row 1. I'm using my fancy new joining method. So I've already got a slip stitch on my hook and I'm going to insert it into the first. This is my slip stitch from the first round. Sorry, I've been working in rounds this afternoon. The first row of part 4. So we're going to put one slip stitch in there and one slip stitch in the second row as well. When you're working with the smaller stitches, you don't necessarily have to be so precise about where, sorry I got kicked, where you put your hook. As long as you collect at least 2 pieces of yarn though, so that your slip stitch has got a nice base to hold on to. So that's slip stitch number 2. Then in row 3 we are also putting one slip stitch in the end of there, and again make sure you collect more than 1 piece of yarn. So that's slip stitch number 3, and in row 4 we're also just putting one slip stitch in the end of this row 2. I am going to make sure I collect 2 strands of yarn so that the slip stitch has a good foundation to hold on to. So that's 4. Then row 5, we're putting 1 in row 5, which is this olive row here, and again make sure that you collect more than 1 strand. And when you're doing your slip stitches, don't make them too tight. Remember, we're going to work in these later on. So that's row 5. Now row 6 is a treble, either a treble or a chain 3. So we're going to put 3 slip stitches in this stitch. But remember, we've got joining parts as well where we can put stitches in. But whatever you do, always collect 2 strands of yarn. You might be tempted to put your hook in there, and I can see why you would, but it will pull and make a hole when you join together. So if you can, you need to be splitting either the chain of 3 or the treble at the end of this row. And if you're having trouble getting your hook in, as I am, go down a few sizes just to allow you to get that thread up. Yarn. It's been one of them weeks. Right, so now we can pick that up and complete the slip stitch now. So that feels really slack. You don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight either. I still think that's too loose. Right, so that's 1 in there. I'll try and get 1 in the centre, and I think I'm going to have to go down a hook again actually. I know it's fiddly, but You need to have somewhere to work into when you come to joining your stitches, and if you've got this row slip stitches, it will make it easier in the long run rather than trying to figure out 29 across the edge without any slip stitches. Right, so I want one central, or as central as I can get it. Oh, it's proving a toughie, this stitch. Come on. You will go in. So again, pull up and then complete. So that's 2, and then we want another one up here. It's a bit easier. That's 3, and then I put 2 across the next one. So 2 in round 7, which is proving a bit difficult too. So 2 in there, okay, and then I put 1 in the end of row 8, which is the fern colour, and you can see there is just one strand, but you need to try and get another strand from somewhere else, because that won't be sufficient really to hold your slip stitch nice and give it a good foundation to hold on to. So 1 in there. Then row 9 is the olive colour. We're putting 1 in there, like so. I haven't blocked this piece either, so just to bear that in mind as well. Row 10 we're putting 3. So we want one right at the bottom, one centrally and one at the top. If we can, I'm going to have to change hooks again. I could just get in, just to be able to get in there. I've got one strand, I need another. This is probably putting you off, but seriously I wouldn't be put off doing this. Oh, come on. Try again. Better. So that's 1 when it's finished. 1 in the centre, and I'm going to use this again because it looks like I'm going to have to drop down. Got there in the end. That's number 2. We need a third one. I'm going to collect a strand from here. 3 in there, and then I put 3 in the teal one as well. So 1 in the bottom. In fact, I'm going to probably try and put it in there where they've joined together. No, I'm not, because there's not going to be space. So we want 3 in this teal row here. One. 2 and 3. Then we are putting 1 in row 12, 1 in 13, sorry about this, Pete. We're putting 3 into the next round, which doesn't look too tight. Note to self, don't make beginning chains and last stitches so taut. 2, 3 at the top, 2 into this teal stitch here. Like I said, don't be tempted to just put your hook in a hole, because it could create a bigger hole when you come to join. So we're putting 2 in there. Yes, 1 in this aqua row here, which is row 16. 1 in row 17. 1 in row 19, which is your pink flash row. I'm going to use this smaller one just to collect, because I want more than one strand. It needs to be robust enough to hold, otherwise when you join it's not going to hold nicely. And 1 in the last row, sorry, must get rounds out of my head, and then finish off. Took a bit of doing, but we got there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 29. So although it was a bit difficult to get into some of these ends, it's worth persevering, or just drop down a hook size. I know one of the ladies in the group, I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, had suggested using a darning needle to create the stitches up the edge. I haven't tried myself, to be perfectly honest, but it is another method. But also it's a note to self to make sure that these beginning turning chains and end stitches aren't too tight. It's just something to bear in mind. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'll go over joining pieces together in another video very soon. Happy hooking, thank you, bye.